compromise again?
Well, there's two different issues. One is as far as trying to get more support. I don't see any way we're going to get to 290 votes if we go by the two-thirds. And I had said from the start, I never saw any way we were going to get more than 20, 24 Republican votes if everything went as smoothly as possible. So that was never really on the table. And Anthony probably had a misunderstanding on that. But in any event, it's very difficult to get more Republican votes. I think, again, if we work everything out, maybe 20, 25 the most. As far as the amendments, that is one of the things we're going to be talking to the Republicans on. Maybe another way can be found to do that. And we'll have to see. The bottom line, though, is even if there are tough amendments, we should find a way to still vote on it. It would, I think, no matter what, still get more than 218 votes. But again, perhaps we can do it a different way. Perhaps it can be worded differently. Perhaps it can be done in a different sequence. So, because I can tell you that all of us from New York want to find a way to get it through. And quite frankly, with illegal immigration, which is the one you mentioned, I don't think it should be a real issue on either side, because in the big picture, there were not that many illegal immigrants working on the pile at Ground Zero. And so if they were kept from getting it, to me, Republicans raising the issue, we're not talking about saving that much money. We're not talking about any great loss of principle by covering a few extra people. On the other hand, if from the Democratic side, if illegal immigrants were taken out, you'd still be taking care probably of 98, 99% of the victims. So on both sides, I think it's an exaggerated issue. It's very important to people on both sides. I understand the principle. I know when you talk to some members of the New York delegation who feel strongly about it, I understand the principle that's involved. So it's not going to be easy, Liz, but I think it can be done.
It's interesting, Congressman, you mentioned that Charlie Rangel had led this meeting that you had on this particular issue. And, of course, Charlie Rangel has had these ethics charges lodged against him, and he's in this fight for his political career. Has these charges that are pending now and the sort of maelstrom that is surrounding him, and on the day that you were in Washington, he gave this really sort of amazing speech in his own defense on the floor using a point of personal privilege. Has this had an impact on his ability to do his job? I mean, when he's leading meetings like that you're talking about as the dean of the delegation, are people listening to him? Do they still believe that he has the clout that he did before?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether Charlie has the clout that he had before, but he certainly has the force of his personality. Now, we met from about 10 o'clock until maybe 11:15 or 11:20 on Tuesday. Charlie ran that meeting. He ran it with an iron hand. I mean, several times when tempers started to flare, because we not just had members of the delegation, we also had union representatives, we had building contractors there, we had victims leadership there, and a few times things did start to get unruly. Charlie gave that loud whistle of his, he banged the table. No, he ran the meeting with an iron hand. And what struck me about it was, probably an hour later, he was up on the House floor giving the 37-minute speech, and I had no idea it was coming. None of us in the meeting did. And he didn't at all seem preoccupied. Usually if you have something big coming up and you're at a meeting, your mind is wandering elsewhere, you're looking at the ceiling or you're taking notes. Charlie was 100% into that meeting. He was setting up the order of recognition. He was cutting people off. He was keeping people in line. He sort of strolled up to the House floor. We had one vote. The next thing I know, Charlie's at the microphone, point of personal privilege. I went on for 37 minutes. So it has not affected him all physically. It hasn't really affected him as far as ability to work. Obviously, if you say his clout has been diminished in the House, it has. But as far as his one-on-one force of personality in the room, it was the same old Charlie Rangel that I've known for over 2 decades.
Let me just, before I let you go, ask you about the mosque, which just is sort of the issue that won't go away. There are a number of your colleagues in New York, including actually Anthony Weiner, but also Chuck Schumer, who have been kind of reticent about being out front in terms of their position on this. In Weiner's case, he says it's a separation of church and state issue that he doesn't think he should weigh in. And Chuck Schumer has said that he is not opposed to the project, but he won't go very much into detail. Do you think that that's appropriate for people who are in elected office not to take a position on this? Because I know that you have pretty strong feelings about it.
Yeah, I can only speak for myself. I think that this is an issue which is important for New York representatives to speak out on, because it directly affects New York, not just in the physical sense of having the mosque located there, but the the wound that I think it's inflicting on the New York psyche. I have so many people in my district who lost family members, lost close friends who have spoken to me about it, and these are very good, decent people, and they are just like torn open now over this. And to me, I think we have an obligation to tell the Muslim community and the leadership of the Muslim community how inappropriate it is to have that mosque in that location. So I feel, as a representative from New York especially, I have the the duty to say where I stand on it, excuse me, and why I think it's wrong, and why I think that the Muslim leadership is wrong in persisting in placing it there. There's so many mosques in New York. There's other locations. The governor has actually offered another site, and so I have no hesitancy at all in my own case in speaking out. Everyone has to make up their own mind, but I think since 9/11, the attack of 9/11 will have an eternal impact on New York. That certainly less than 9 years later, when the wounds are still so open, I felt absolutely compelled to speak out.
Well, Congressman, I want to thank you very much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm sure we'll be speaking with you again. Take care until then.
Liz, thank you, and good luck in all these competitions you're in.
Thanks.